Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Ellie and I'm a student midwife to be. I'm so excited to make this video today because I know that there's so many people out there that really don't know what to expect with midwifery interview questions. So I thought that if I can help in any way with that, then I'm going to do it, because I know that I really struggled looking online to find people that knew about the questions, and I hope I can help. If you do like this video, please like the button below, and if you want to see more content of mine, please hit the subscribe button below, because it all really helps to support me. So let's just jump right in. I ended up applying to university for midwifery in March. I think it was March the 18th. So a few days later, England went into lockdown. So that meant that by the time my application got processed, I ended up getting my interview request come through saying that I've got to do a Skype interview. So I was like, what? This is so crazy. Because a lot of the videos that I'd watched had come from the universities themselves, saying like how to prepare, what to expect. And obviously you could see these students there at the universities and having a look round and meeting face to face, and some of the questions you had to physically do tasks in front of them, and I was thinking, like, how am I gonna do the same thing? Like, how will they get the same information from me doing it online? But it still ended up going really well. So I applied to 5 different universities and they were mostly based in London, and my firm choice was Kingston University. So I'm going to be talking about that one the most today, and they also have the most interesting way of interviewing. So I think that'd be really beneficial to talk about. And then I'm also going to talk about another one of the choices I had, which was the University of West London, and they had a more general sort of style of an interview. So I think that'd be really beneficial to talk about too. So yeah, with Kingston, I think that you were supposed to do an English and maths test before you get shortlisted for an interview, but I don't think that they had the portal online in time for people to do it who were interviewing from home. So I am pretty sure, 99% sure, I didn't end up doing a maths and English test. So when I got into the interview, I got asked a few questions about myself and my personal details, passport details, stuff like that, so they could confirm it was me. And then we jumped straight into the question, what does a midwife do? Now, if you answer they deliver babies, you're not wrong, but equally they don't want to hear that, because that is the most obvious answer you could give. They want to know that you've got a really deep understanding of the role of a midwife. So it'd be really beneficial if you look this up online, because I'll say a few now. So there's things like they provide care and support to women and their families during pregnancy, labour and the early postnatal period. They provide training to student midwives. They refer women onwards for further care. They have a look at the care requirements for the women and create care plans based on those requirements. Lots of stuff like that. It's giving those answers instead of they deliver babies and a few other ones when you're sat there I can't really think of the others, isn't going to look good. So I'd definitely have a look on the role of a midwife online, because they do tons and tons of stuff. So pick out the ones that you think will best stay in your mind and that you think is the most important sort of ones. But yeah, if you just kind of say they deliver babies and then you try really hard to think of other things, it's just going to look like you've watched One Born Every Minute and kind of spontaneously thought, oh, I'm going to be a midwife. They just want to know that you are prepared to do all of the roles, not just deliver babies. The next question I got asked was weigh up the pros and cons of midwifery. So at this point, you can say I think midwifery is an extremely rewarding career. They bring new life into the world. They support women at the time when they really need it. All those kind of things. And then for the negatives, I said that there is complications, things can go wrong, and there's some really heartbreaking situations. Women may not get the birth plans that they wanted, things like that. But then once I'd said the positives and then the negatives, I summarized it in a positive sort of way. So it was even though there are negatives to this, the positives do outweigh those, because in midwifery the outcomes are relatively positive, because you're in general dealing with healthy women. So something like that, as long as you can justify it and summarize it in a positive way afterwards, that looks really good, and it's a good skill to use during interviews if there's something negative, or if you're explaining, like, because another question, I didn't get asked this on my Kingston one, but they said that you could, but I did actually get it asked on my West London one, was explain your like skills, like transferable skills, and your relative like work experience or voluntary work. So it was things like that, way if you don't necessarily have relevant work experience, you've got to kind of say it but turn it into a positive at the same time. So then you've not got this, but you've done this, and this could really help with those transferable skills and stuff like that. Being able to do that will make you shine and stand out from the other people. So then I think that was like the second question she asked me, and then just jumped straight into the MMIs. So for those of you that don't know what MMIs are, basically they're questions that help to determine what kind of person you are and your personality and things like that. Unfortunately, you can't really prepare very much for these questions because there isn't really right or wrong answers. It's how you justify them that makes them correct in their eyes. So basically, one of the questions I got asked was, you're up in a space shuttle and there's only one life pack, and that allows someone to go home, but the other people that don't have a life pack are just going to be left behind in space. Who would you give it to and why? So there was a middle-aged guy who had a newborn baby at home and he wanted to go back to his family. There was an elderly woman who had been in space for pretty much all her life, bless her, and she wanted to come back home and retire and spend time with her family. And then there was a middle-aged woman who had been up in space for quite a while, and she's been researching how to create human life on other planets and how humans can live on there and be successful and stuff like that. And then she wanted to go home, so I ended up saying her. My answer for it was, she's doing something that could really benefit the future of humans, and if she can go home and be safe and continue her research from home or go into the space again in the future, she would be able to possibly complete the research and change human life as we know it now. So I said something like that because it would benefit the world, but then I ended up saying afterwards it was a really tough decision though, and the other two did deserve to go back home as well. Like that poor woman, bless her, she'd been up in space all that time, things like that. You showing that you really do feel sorry for the other people, but you had to do the decision that was best for everyone. So I think that was like a good quality that they seen in me, because I was able to pick the best, why, but also say that the other people did deserve it too. So yeah, I got that, and then I had two others that were pretty similar to that, and then I had another one which was, you're at university and your flatmate is really tired all the time, his grades are dropping, he's not attending classes, and he's stopped going to play football now, which was his favourite sport and favourite hobby and all that. What can you do to help him, and which would be the best method of help and why? So I ended up saying that the best method of help would be telling him to go to a GP, because the GP can refer him to a professional like a counsellor, because it does sound like he's struggling a bit with his mental health. But then I said that I'd talk to him first and see if there's anything I could do, and then I'd also talk to his teachers, because they only see the fact that he's not attending class and his grades are falling, so they don't know what's going on at home. So if I tell them that I'm a bit worried, they could offer advice, they could support him, they could do a lot more. And then I'd also tell his football friends to come over to try and encourage him to play, make him feel like he's really needed there and appreciated, because that might encourage him to play his sport and be happy again. So yeah, I just said things like that, and I think you kind of get the idea now of what the MMIs are. It's just to see what kind of person you are, but equally you have no idea what the questions will be, so you can't prepare anyway. But honestly, the main piece of advice I can give you with the MMIs is to just say exactly how you feel, because if you say something that you feel like they'd want to hear and you don't get accepted, you'll just be kicking yourself thinking, well, that wasn't how I'd answer it. So just be truthful to yourself, go with your gut instinct, and you should be completely fine. But just justify it and feel sorry for the other people if there was other people there. once I'd done them MMIs, it would have been about 7 minutes into the interview, and I ended up getting offered a place that quick. And I'm not saying it as in a way to brag, I'm just saying it in a way to make you think that hopefully the answers I'm giving you and the guidance I'm giving you will really, really help. I'm not saying that if you say exactly the same things as I say, you'll get in, because ultimately it's down to how you convey those answers, your passion for it, your life story, the things that's happened, the courses that you do, the experience you've got. All them things are a big factor in it, but I just want you to know that it's come from a good source, is all I'm trying to say. So yeah, so then I got the Kingston offer and I was so excited because, like I said, that's my firm choice. And then later in the week I had an interview with West London. So I was actually getting interviewed by 2 women in this interview, and that was something I'd never experienced before. So I was already quite nervous and it was really intimidating. But once I kind of got into the interview, I just forgot about it a little bit. I got asked, what does a midwife do? So I said the same thing again. What makes you want to come to the University of West London? So just make sure that you look into the university properly, look at the support services they can offer you, everything like that, because it's not only good to know for the interview, but it's good to know yourself as well, that when you go there, there's help if you need it, and you go into a good rated university, and like the area around it is really nice. So yeah, just have a good look into everything. And then they also asked me, if I was successful and got a place at the university, which trust would I like to do my placements at? And I also got asked for a backup in case I couldn't have that one. Now, thankfully, I had over-prepared completely for this interview, so I was really happy because I'd got a backup as well. So make sure that you have a look on the university like websites to see what trusts they partner with, because then you can have a thorough look into them and see why that one sticks out to you. See how good it is in terms of distance, the facilities that they have, what they can offer you, and have a look as well, because some of them do say that they are quite eager to keep the students on once they've graduated. A lot of them do anyway, but the ones that actually say it are quite likely to as well. So it's just worth a look at them sort of things. Then at least you're prepared with that. I got asked to read current news and research about midwifery. So thank goodness I'd over prepared for this question as well, because they didn't necessarily tell me to prepare for this one. And it's not something that you could necessarily just wing. Like, you've got to know what you're talking about, because this is research at the end of the day. So I ended up talking about how the coronavirus has impacted midwifery, and that worked really well. I'm not saying that you should use it, like, by all means. It was quite interesting to read anyway. But go on to I think it's the Royal College of Nursing and Midwifery. I think that's what it's called. I only looked the other day, so I should know. But yeah, just have a look at places like that and the Nursing and Midwifery Council, because they have lots of information about news and research on their pages. So that should really help. Make sure that you try and incorporate, if they ask you about transferable skills and all that, about the 6 C's. So the 6 C's are care, compassion, competence, communication. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Communication, courage, and commitment. So they are the 6 C's, and the people that are applying to like healthcare professions are expected to have those values. So try and say and link in your answer some of those, because that can look quite good as well. All I can really say is to just be yourself, be confident, sell yourself, because really you've got to the like easy part now. You've gone through the application process, you've gone through doing your personal statement and waiting around for the university to know if they're willing to have you for an interview or not. You're at the easy bit now. They've looked at your personal statement and they've shortlisted you for a reason. They believe that you have the skills to do this. They just want you to tell them why they should choose you, and they want to choose you. They don't want you to fail. So even if it's quite intimidating, if there's a panel interviewing you or there's some questions coming up and you just feel like you're in a constant battle with them and it's really tough, just smile, take a deep breath and just think, I can do this, I've got this, because I can assure you that deep down you'll know all the answers to the questions. And as long as you do the preparation and the research beforehand, and you feel that once you've come out of that interview that you couldn't have done anything else, then there's nothing to worry about. So just enjoy it. And I know it's nerve-wracking and scary, and especially if you're doing it from home, because I was sat in my living room, I got my full like formal attire on, got a little bit of makeup on, done my hair all nice, and tried to like set myself up, my camera up in an area which looked quite nice in the house, but I was just praying that like my cat wouldn't walk in meowing, or my family wouldn't interrupt or distract me, because it's not like you're in a quiet room at this university, you're in your home. And so it was really awkward, but I thought like once I come out of it, like wow, that was still quite interesting, and it's something you can say like, oh yeah, I ended up having interviews during lockdown. So yeah, but I hope that this video can help people that are not only having the interviews during lockdown, but those who will be having interviews in the future with universities for midwifery, because ultimately they've got to ask like similar questions anyway, because the courses are exactly the same, it's just delivered by different people and in a slightly different way, but they've got to know the same information as everyone else, because you're all going to be midwives at the end of the day. So yeah, I really hope that this video has helped you guys. If there's any questions that you have about midwifery interviews, or anything you'd want me to talk about in the future in a video, please leave it in the comments section below. And once again, if you've liked this video, please hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, because it really does help. Thank you so much and have a great day.